Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Atlanta, Southeast, East Coast, West Coast, wherever you are. Good afternoon if you're listening to us on YouTube. Or good night, maybe you're strolling down and then you saw this conversation kind of call your attention. Thank you for being here. Today, it's Money Mondays, and we talk all about money and mindset around money and marketing around money, and hopefully we're going to leave you some value where you can take some action and create some wealth for yourself. We are committed that you create wealth for yourself. It's a lot. There's a world of difference if you go on vacation and you stay at Motel 6, or if you go on vacation and you stay at the
Ritz-Carlton. Ritz-Carlton.
It's a massive difference, and we want you to go to the Ritz-Carlton. Okay, I'm not saying you become a better human being. What I'm saying is you have a lot more fun. All right, so today's conversation is one that I'm very passionate about. It's about the 3 hidden barriers. 3 hidden barriers most people never overcome in their quest to make more money. Look, Saurel and I have been coaching people for about 10, 15 years. We have created businesses to sell over 7 figures, 8 figures, and able to make that threshold to actually overcome that threshold that a lot of businesses have. And we're committed that you have a breakthrough today in those things that you care about in your quest to make money. So 3 hidden barriers most people never overcome in their quest to make more money. But first, I got to tell you something. I don't usually boast about my finances, but my credit card company calls me every day to tell me my balance is outstanding. I love that.
The word
joke.
outstanding there, Gio, was lost in translation.
I love that joke. All right.
It's an amazing joke, Gio.
What's that?
I said it's an amazing joke.
Stan gets it. It's like, yeah, now I can boast about my
very well.
All right, so normally Kimberly and Zach are usually here, but today they're really enjoying their life. They're somewhere in the world having a lot of fun, and so they allow us and give us the permission to dance in this conversation. So 3 hidden barriers most people never overcome in their quest to make more money. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to be dancing with Saurel Quettan, who has a multiple 7-figure business and has a significant experience in this topic. And also he has been a mentor of mine for many years. And I have to say, a friend of mine and a business partner of mine. And I have to say, there is my life before I met Saurel and my life after I met Saurel. And he will challenge you into thinking abstractly so that whatever you discover for yourself, it uses you for the rest of your life. That has been my experience of dancing in live with Saurel. Thank you, Saurel, for being here on Money Matters.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for creating me the way you do. There's also my life before Gio and my life after Giovanni. See, before Giovanni, I used to think that I just say words and people will hear them and maybe they make a difference. And then after you, Gio, you have the capacity to help someone like me develop the confidence that my speaking makes a difference. So my speaking makes a difference because of your listening, and I am so grateful for that. And one thing I want to say to our listeners before we start dancing, Gio, is that when you hear 3 hidden barriers most people never overcome, your brain may be like my brain, where you go, 3 hidden barriers. What is Gio and Saurel going to say that actually is going to make a difference? Well, I want you to know that what we say is not going to make a difference, but what you hear is going to make the world of difference for you. So I'm inviting you to get on the edge of your seats and listen to the 3 hidden barriers as if you've never heard them before. So, Jill, let's run.
Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. So most people, Saurel, whenever I get a chance to talk to and work with, most people have an idea of how they want their life to look like. And they have an idea, a wishful idea. I don't mean wishful thinking. No, I don't mean that. I mean a wishful idea of how much money they will want to live with, to be comfortable and having a comfortable life. And then they have this wishful kind of goals, like making sure of retirement and making sure of school if the children are young, or retiring the parents, or the healthcare, or there's a lot of aspects that money does take care of. And I find that most of us have a kind of wishful thinking, that wishful idea that things will eventually turn out or they work out. And for most people, it doesn't. For the majority of people, it doesn't. And it's a very rude awakening. Now, for those people who do take a responsible intention around creating wealth, they must overcome the 3 barriers. And the first one that I want to bring to the conversation is the unconscious story that they have about having wealth. It's like an unconscious belief that they have about having wealth. And I say, Saurel, that most people have a fortune cookie awareness about the belief they have about having wealth. What do I mean by a fortune cookie kind of awareness, or a bumper sticker kind of awareness? And it's kind of confronting, but I really mean to be confronting, because it was only until I confronted my beliefs about wealth, was my inherited belief, my unconscious beliefs. It was only until I confronted them that I was able to have a breakthrough in my finances. So,
Yeah,
like,
Jill,
go ahead, sorry.
I just want to make sure I'm getting it. You're saying that in my life, I have a barrier to making money that is my unconscious belief. Like, I have a belief that's limiting my ability to make more money, and I'm not aware of that belief.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I got it.
Yes, exactly. And so we're not going to navigate on them right now. Unfortunately, we're not going to navigate. To do it responsibly, it takes some time. However, we're going to point to them. And I want to point to them. And so I want you, and for some of you, this is a familiar conversation. But if you don't have the wealth you want or you're comfortable with, then I want you to consider you still have that unconscious belief over there in your subconscious, if you will, about creating wealth. So when I was little, I was born into a family that had a conversation, a social conversation about wealth, that it was something like money doesn't grow on trees. It's easier for a man to go through the eye of a needle than to go into the gates of heaven. Money makes people bad, and money corrupts people. I was wanting to a social conversation, that you don't want to turn into like the people who have money, who don't care about society, and people who have money, they think they're better than other people, so they kind of look down on everyone else. And I also, in the country I was born into, there's this significant conversation around social classes. Like, there's this lower class, and then this middle class, and this high class. But it's like heavy. Like, if you're born into a particular class or a social economic class, it means status. It means, therefore, that you're uneducated and dumb, and if you're born into an economic class that has wealth, then it definitely means that you're corrupted and you're an asshole and there are dead bodies in your living room. And so that's kind of like the conversation I was born into. And I couldn't see for myself that I had inherited a belief that I had adopted for myself. And what I was saying to myself, and up until I was about 23 or 24 years old, I was saying to myself, I never want to be like that. I never want to do it. Now, I wouldn't say it because I wanted to win the lottery like anybody else wants to win the lottery. I also dream of these crazy vacations. I also dream of having these crazy cars. But I was also saying, I never want to be like that. And so I had this internal conflict that I was unaware of that prevented me from actually taking actions that actually create wealth. Go ahead, Saurel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm discovering this as you're speaking. It's like for you or me not to be like them. So now if you're listening, picture yourself. You have a belief like that, where you're saying, I'm not going to be like them, or I'm not going to be like that. Whatever it is, to actually have that be real in my life, the way it shows up is I can't have a certain amount of money. Like there's a threshold that which if I cross that threshold, I'm just like them. So therefore, I'm going to make sure unconsciously that I don't cross that threshold. So I'm not like them. And then I complain I don't have money. That's the nature of this first hidden barrier.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, that's the nature. So at some point, people who listen to this conversation and this podcast, this is sort of familiar for a lot of people. This is sort of familiar. And this hidden barrier it's not quite a hidden barrier. However, then there is the next barrier, which is, okay, now that I understand or have a sense of the inherited belief, right, that I adopted from the people I was born with and born into, here's the next aspect that one must create. I say must create. It's not the truth, but I say you must create. You've got to create a new belief. You've got to create a new context for wealth. You got to create a new story. And so the way I sort of navigate some of our clients when they have a break, when they have a limitation in the sales they want, is that I ask them, well, what is your sales goal, right? And they say the following, 1 million, 10 million, whatever it is that they say, right? And okay, then I say, well, so what's possible if we achieve that in your life? And then at the beginning, people struggle in saying it, but then we kind of keep digging. And then they start giving me this amazing possibility, amazing world, what's possible for their parents, what's possible for their children, what's possible for their insurance, what's possible for society. And most people with wealth, Saurel, they really want to do good in the world. Most people with wealth do. I don't know if they eventually do it, but most people really want to do some really good things in the world. And the only thing preventing them is actually creating wealth for themselves. And then now that they see wealth is good, wealth makes me more of what my heart has to give, what my heart has to give. So we shift that belief, and then they have to create this mission statement for themselves around why they want wealth in their lives, what they're going to do with it, how are they going to provide for their families. And at some point, it becomes a must for them. Like it has become a must for me. It has to become something that they want it more than the next breath air. It becomes part of their fiber. It doesn't matter if they're depressed. It doesn't matter if they have anxiety. They're going to continue to build it because now it's part of their DNA. And they've got to create that statement. They have to write it down. They have to see it. They have to reinvent themselves constantly on a created statement. They've got to do it. Absent of doing it, absent of doing the work, it's just some thought. And that's not strong enough. So that's the second barrier, sir.
Oh my God. It's like money now has a purpose as opposed to just something you're chasing. So this second barrier says that most people, and I want to make sure I get it to you, most people make a goal of making more money, but that doesn't really work because the goal of making more money is still stuck in the first context, that the hidden, like the inherited belief created. So now I must not only acknowledge the limiting belief, I must now create a new one.
I've got to
New
create.
context for why money is in my life and what money is going to do in my life and for the world.
Yeah,
So,
and why must.
yeah, must.
It's a must. It can't be like it's a good idea. I hope it happens. It cannot be like that. If it lives like that, most people never achieve what they want.
Yeah.
It has to be a must.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be hard. So it's critical to discover that creating wealth is not a hard thing. It is simple. But that leads us to the next hidden barrier, right?
Yes.
Next hidden barrier. And this is really juicy, and this is where the fun happens in my belief, right? It has happened for me and for the people we get to work with, and I'm sure it has happened for you if you're listening. Now that you have this created belief, created context is for the opportunity of making wealth, having money, then you must have a goal. You must have a goal, a written goal, but it's not because I believe goals are important, except it not only is because I believe that, but also because I must redirect my brain to a particular goal on a regular basis. The brain, I'm going to say it this way, Saurel, is the most incredible machine that everybody has that most of us don't know how it works. And the brain works independent of one beliefs about oneself. Most people believe they are not good enough, worthy, and they don't have the capacity. But the brain itself works independent of that belief, and the brain will give you the ideas. But in order to trigger the brain, to give you the ideas, to connect with the right people, you must have a particular goal in mind every single year for the wealth you want to create. Now, when someone has a goal in mind, now here's the aspect of the hidden barrier. When someone has a goal in mind, whether it's 100,000, whether it's 250,000 a year, whether it's 500,000, whether it's 1 million or more, whenever somebody has a goal in mind, then that person gets to confront the third hidden barrier. Must confront it. At that moment, that person must confront it. And what that person confronts is that the activities that they do on a regular basis either will lead them to get to that goal or they won't. And one must be clear about the actions one is taking on a daily basis. Are the activities that I'm taking will lead me to the possibility of that goal? Because there's no certainty, but the possibility of that goal, or that those activities will not lead you to that goal. You're only left with hope that you win the lottery ticket. And for most people, it's not a good strategy. So what are some activities that will not lead you to the goal that you want to achieve financially? And you've got to shatter them. You got to be straight with yourself. I am clear that doing the dishes will not lead to that. I am clear that cleaning my house will not lead to that. I am clear that doing my lawn will not lead to that. Now, I'm not saying you can't do it. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. Of course, you got to do the laundry. Of course, you got to clean your dishes. Of course, you got to do the house. Of course, you got to do those things. Otherwise, your house becomes a royal mess. And now you really can't do anything because your house is cluttered. But you've got to find a way to start delegating. You've got to start finding a way on how to hire someone to do the things that don't lead you to wealth. And you might be thinking, yeah, but I can't afford that, man. Okay, I got that. But the first step is, because at some point I couldn't afford it. But the first step is the self-awareness that you are full of activities that do not bring wealth into your life. And you've got to start shifting them and changing them.
Yeah, I kind of like the way you said that. You are full of activities that do not bring you wealth. So clarify for me a second. The goal you're talking about, Gio, it has to be a clear, distinct, precise financial goal.
Yeah, as much as money here, yes.
Right? So it's not any goal. It's a financial goal. I'm targeting to do 500,000 this year, or I'm targeting to make my income 150K this year, or I'm targeting to make $1 million through my business in a year or 18 months, just like that.
Yeah,
very precise.
The goal doesn't define you as a human being. You don't become a good human being because you make $1 million or $500,000 or no. We're not defining that. No, as a human being, making more money could make you more of an asshole. That's not what I'm saying. A defined goal allows my brain to think strategically. A defined goal allows me to see if the activities I'm taking on a daily basis or a quarterly basis are going to get me closer to that, so it's easier to adjust. Absent of having that defined goal, I can't adjust. I live in this hopeful world, and then I can't quite adjust, and then for the most part, people don't unleash their natural ability to create wealth. And it's not education. Some of my clients have 3-4 more times wealth than most people in their lifetime, and they didn't finish high school. It's not education. It's not emotional intelligence. It's not working on themselves. There's a massive difference between personal transformation and wealth transformation and business transformation. Two different worlds. Most people collapse them and they only work on themselves. And so they ended up meditating their lives, but they can't buy appetizers for themselves. And they're always frustrated because they don't have money. So there's two completely, massively different worlds. And like you're pointing to, absent of defining that goal, that financial goal of what you're after, your brain won't trigger its natural ability to create wealth. And so we got to define it. And then after it's defined, then it's easier for the brain to see what activities am I creating? What activities am I creating on a regular basis? What's my schedule during the day? What does my day looks like that has activities that create wealth? If you have a business, then you're paying attention to what is my marketing department doing, right? Because you're no longer the only person who's creating the activities. You actually have somebody else doing it. Anyways, I'll stop there, Saurel.
Yeah, let's bring the rest of the gallery in and see if we've got any questions, comments. Come on, folks, it's your turn.
What's percolating over there? Go ahead, Saurel.
While that's creating, Gio, here's what I'm taking away. 3 hidden barriers that most people, and that's me, never overcome in my quest to make more money. The first one is that there's a default view of the world, view of myself, view of money that I inherited that leaves me with a certain belief about making money and about having money. That leaves me naturally, by default, doing all the things that keeps me at a place regarding money, and that place is my home. I'm not going to make more than that, because if I make more than that, my whole world gets shattered. So that is critical. The shift in mindset is critical. And then second, once I make the shift in mindset, there's this default context that used to be there, leaving me relating to money and making money and having money in a certain way, that I must now create a new context. Like I create a new belief, a new context. Like when I have money, what difference is it going to make for my family? What difference is it going to make to my community? What difference will it make for my business and my employees? And then that new context, I let that be. I work to make that the default. And that's the second. The third one is now, unless I create a very specific financial goal that leaves my brain capable of actually creating activities that are aligned with achieving that goal, I'm just in a dream world, wishing and hoping. Now, you did mention that we're going to stay at a high level. Even at a high level, I think those three hidden barriers, when I or you and others consciously look and create goals that give me the opportunity to confront them on an ongoing basis by determining whether or not the activities I'm doing on a daily basis are aligned, it's a really different world, Gio. I can see how making money can be what comes to human beings naturally by going through these three steps and discovering the three hidden barriers.
Yeah, now it takes something. It certainly took something from me, Saurel. Going through these three hidden barriers. I remember doing the work of looking at what did I hear when I was young about money and confronting that and almost I didn't want to look at it because I didn't want to make anybody wrong, you know. So I had to transcend that. I had to not make anything wrong. There's nothing wrong. Then also then creating wealth, then creating a context, a new belief, a new mission for wealth. That was also scary for me because it was like, well, what if I don't make it? Then that means something about myself, that I'm a loser, that I'll never amount to anything, I'll never do it, right? So I had to transcend that fear as well. And then creating a goal for myself. I remember my first goal was $100,000. I gotta make $100,000. That became my huge goal, and it took me a few years to get there, right? And I didn't get to that goal until I met this guy. His name is Jeff Saurel. You've met him. And then he said,
remember Jeff really well.
Right, he's in the financial services industry. And at the time I was working at the bank. And he was like, how are you doing? It's like, well, I'm doing great. I'm happy. Life is good. I have my insurance, everything's all good. I have a salary, benefits. And then he said, oh, cool. And I was sharing with him how I got this new client to move this money from one place to another. And he's like, wow, congratulations. How much money did you make from that? And I was like, well, I think I made like $75 or something. And it was part of my bonus. And he said, oh my gosh, do you want to know how much I will make if you move that with me? And I said, if you would have moved that, if you were working with us, I mean. And I said, how much money would I make? And he said, I think you make about $22,000 for yourself if you would have made that move working for yourself. And I said, what? Doing the same work gives me $75. And if I do the same work working as an independent, I would have made $22,000. That at the time, that was half of the salary of the entire year. What? And he said, man, let me know if you continue to have that kind of momentum, because you might be open to have a conversation and working for yourself. And I was like, okay, I thought of that, but it took me maybe another year, a year and a half to continue doing the same activities that will bring the bank a certain result, but not money for me. And finally, I remember calling him and I said, look, I'm ready to make the jump. I'm ready to have this jump. And, but I don't know if I can make it. And then I discovered this thing as I was saying it. I was driving from the place I was working at to my house. It was like 8 o'clock at night. And I saw this for myself. I was like, wow, the bank is willing to pay me $45,000 a year because they believe in me. Because a business doesn't pay you unless you bring revenues, okay? But I am unwilling to believe in me. And that was the first threshold. That was like, I gotta do this. I've got to jump. Now it's messy, it's chaotic, it's a real mess for other reasons. But that was what it took for me. So anyway, I wanted to share that story to give some context to.
Yeah, that that's like your Damascus moment. where you have an epiphany, and it is the catalyst for moving from the default context to even having the desire to create a new context for yourself. So it's a journey, folks. And the 3 hidden barriers we shared with you today gives you the possibility to begin the journey to wealth. Wealth, I love to say, Gio, is your birthright. So claim it.
Oh, I love it.
Well, Gio, 32 after, man. Time to wrap it up. Go ahead.
All right, let's wrap it up. On your way to create wealth, there is 8 tenets, 8 rules to live a renegade life, and we want you to live a renegade life on your way to make wealth. The first one is love. Love always. Love those you have an opinion about. Love those who are going to vote differently from you. Love. Choose love. The second one is laugh out loud. Stretch your cheeks. It's not that important. It's not that serious. All is well. The third one is stress less. I think this is all this is. Maybe this is the only life we get. Might as well take it easy. Sleep more. I say 7 hours. Saurel says 8 hours. Just make sure you sleep. That's where you revive your body. If you can't sleep, read a book. You might not need that pill. You might just need to read a book. Your brain will say, I don't want to read, and it will go to sleep. It's critical to sleep. Eat more plant-based, get closer to the trees, hug the trees, eat the trees, eat more plant-based, give everything you got. Give it all away. Give your resentment away, give your jealousy away, give your love away, give it all. And then always move. Every day, move. 10 minutes in the morning, right when you wake up, 10 minutes right after lunch, every single day, go for a walk. And as Dr. Ogando always says, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Check your assumptions. I love you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bright and early, Catherine and Tara will be here with another episode of the Daily Huddle. Invite your friends to go to YouTube and subscribe to the Daily Huddle. We're here for you, and we love you.